Do you have an HND? Well, in this video I'm going to tell you whether you can use your HND to get into a master's or PhD program in the US. Until now, I don't know anyone who had figured out why some people will evaluate their transcripts and get a US degree equivalent, while others will do it and get less than a degree. Also, is there anything like US schools that accept HNDs? What are those schools? We are going to find out in this video. If you are new here, my name is Shaibu and I make videos about study abroad, visa interviews, life abroad, student life, and all of that. Consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Alright, let's get started. Well, I have received a lot of messages from HND holders on whether they can get into straight masters or PhD programs in the US. So I set out to investigate the subject. My first plan was to send many emails to so many universities in the US to make inquiries. Then I realized that I actually needed good information. So I decided to ask my followers, especially those with HND, about the number of years they completed in their programs, the number of courses they took, and the total number of credit hours. I wanted to understand why some will evaluate their transcripts and get a US degree equivalent while others will do it and get less than a degree. And based on the contributions from all of them and a few calls that I made, I realized one thing. Now, before that, let's understand HND from Nigeria and then HND from Ghana. This is going to be key to revealing this mystery. So Nigerian education system has National Diploma ND, which is 2 years with about 140 credit hours depending on the program. Note that a credit hour is a unit of measurement that indicates the amount of work required to complete a course or a degree. I know someone from Nigeria called Queen who was very helpful in my understanding of this conundrum. She studied laboratory technology during her national diploma. She completed the program in 2 years and had a total of 143 credit hours. This national diploma is equivalent to a US associate degree. In Nigeria, after the national diploma, students are required to do 1 year mandatory technical training called IT. It is only after the national diploma in the IT that a student can start their HND, which is the higher national diploma. In other words, you cannot do the HND without the ND. The HND is also for a duration of 2 years. The number of credit hours varies depending on the program. Queen did a total of 79 credit hours during her HND. In total, her HND and ND gave her a total of 222 credit hours. I think the credit hours from HND programs are regarded as quarter credit hours. This means that you need at least 180 credit hours to make it a US degree equivalent, since 1 quarter credit is equal to 1.5 semester credits. This is something that we can find out more about. Emmanuel did a total of 124 credit hours during his 2-year HND in medical engineering. This shows that the number of credit hours vary. This may also depend on whether a student transferred from an ND school, different from the school they studied for their HND. If you are a Nigerian and you evaluate your HND transcripts, it will become a US degree equivalent. This is because of the many credit hours that you have done. When I did my bachelor's degree in economics at the University of Cape Coast, I did a total of 136 credit hours. Obviously, Queen's program had some lab work, which probably took the total credit hours to over 200, but that is still a lot. It makes sense why her evaluated transcript will become a US degree equivalent. Actually, Queen did a top-up because she didn't know she could evaluate a transcript to have a US degree equivalent. In her evaluation report, her HND was already equivalent to a US degree. So if you are a Nigerian with HND, when you evaluate your transcript, it will become a US degree equivalent. Also, please make sure you confirm that the total credit hours is at least 180. US schools don't require you to have a degree before getting into their master's programs or even their PhD program. They just require you to have a US degree equivalent. This is what an evaluated HND transcript will give you. Now, before I tell you more about this, let's look at the case of Ghana. The contrast between Ghana and Nigeria should give enough information to students in other countries for them to decide their next course of action. Now, in Ghana, you can pursue a 2-year diploma and do a 1-year or 2-year top-up to get an HND. You can also get a 3-year HND without getting a 2-year diploma. You don't need a diploma to get an HND. This is already a big difference between Ghana and Nigeria. When you complete a 3-year HND, you can do a 2-year top-up to get a degree. This is what Nasara did to complete a degree. When you complete a 2-year diploma, you can do a 3-year top-up at a university to get a degree. Samuel from Ghana completed a total of 124 credit hours during his 3-year HND marketing at Accra Technical University. Nenekua from Ghana completed a total of 123 credit hours during her 3-year HND. Linda studied a 3-year HND in purchasing and supply and completed with a total of 124 credit hours. Dawson, in one of my WhatsApp groups, completed his HND in computer science with a total of 110 credit hours. Remember I told you that I completed 136 credit hours during my bachelor's degree in economics at the University of Cape Coast. So can HND from Ghana be evaluated into a US degree equivalent? Well, the answer is a big no. This is because the credit hours from a degree program and the one from HND program are not necessarily one-to-one. A 4 credit hour economics course during HND in economics is not equivalent to 4 credit hour economics course during a bachelor's degree in economics. So for a Ghanaian HND to be equivalent to a US degree, you probably need at least a combined 180 credit hours. You won't get that from a 3-year HND from a Ghanaian institution unless you do a top-up of about 2 years. By the time a Nigerian graduates from HND program, they have more than 180 credit hours and had spent 5 years, including a mandatory 1 year for practicals. Ghanaians graduate from their HND having just about 120 credit hours and have spent just about 3 years. This is why they are not the same. A bachelor's degree in the US typically requires 120 credit hours or 180 quarter credits. This is equivalent to about 40 courses. However, the number of credit hours required to earn a bachelor's degree in the US can vary depending on the institution, the major, and whether you are pursuing a double major. But like I said, the credit hours are not necessarily one-to-one. Let me know in the comment section if this is surprising to you, and please share the video with others. So if you are a Ghanaian with HND, you have 3 options if you want to study in the US. The first one is to use your current document to apply as a freshman to a US school. In this case, if you want a good funding, you need to take the SAT and have a good score. Your high school GPA is also important. The second option is that you can evaluate your transcript to a US associate degree and apply as a transfer student. Unfortunately, applying as a transfer student will not get you a good scholarship, even if you have a good SAT score. Most good scholarships are reserved for first-year students or freshmen. The third option is to do a top-up to get a degree and then use your degree to apply for master's and PhD studies in the US. My recommendation is this third option, which is to do a top-up, get a degree, and come to the US for your master's or PhD. By doing this and doing well during your top-up degree, you are going to end up with more credit hours and better GPA, which can help you a lot. I have made a detailed step-by-step video on how to evaluate your transcript using World Education Services. Check the link in the description of this video. If you are a Nigerian HND holder with an evaluated transcript or a Ghanaian using the third option, you need to apply to 2 categories of schools in the US. So the first thing is to apply to schools that require or accept transcript evaluations. There is nothing like US schools that accept HNDs. So it's rather schools that accept evaluated transcripts, not HNDs. In this case, you can just let them, have your evaluated transcripts. The second category is schools that accept either the original transcript or the evaluated one. In this case, you have to merge the 2 as one document. You can place the evaluated transcript first, followed by the original one as one document. Some schools may accept your merged HND and ND transcripts and do an internal evaluation. In this case, you don't have to send an evaluated transcript. But not many schools are like that, so you have to still evaluate your transcripts. A crucial aspect of the study abroad process is sending emails about things you don't understand or are confused about. So always send email if you need more information. There are many schools that require or accept transcript evaluations, and I will recommend many to you in a future live session. To get into a US Master's or PhD program with HND, the first thing is to ensure that you have evaluated your transcript and the evaluated transcript is a US degree equivalent as explained already. Once you have done that, you need to apply to US schools that require or accept an evaluated transcript. And then, just apply with strong application material such as the statement of purpose and the resume. If you want to do your PhD studies, your research interest and test scores can make a huge difference. In most cases, you don't need a master's degree to get into a PhD program in the US. In fact, a lot of PhD programs don't even have master's programs. In my school, the PhD economics program doesn't require you to have a master's degree. In the process of doing your PhD, you can actually earn a master's degree as well. So the key thing here is that you need to make sure your evaluated transcript is a US degree equivalent. Given how competitive the study abroad process is, you may consider only master's programs and then apply for PhD later. This is because the goal is to come to the US on good funding as soon as possible, and everything else later. It also depends on your GPA and other application materials. If you have a high GPA, then you can get into a straight PhD program. If not, you probably have to look at master's programs. Also, the fact that you're coming to an unknown place, a new place, and all of that, you probably need a lot of time to get into the PhD rhythm. So you probably have to consider master's programs. Many Ghanaians have evaluated their transcript only to find out that it is not a US degree equivalent. They were told to do so because we didn't understand this until now. I'm glad that I've been able to figure out this. In this video, we have discovered that what is true for Nigerians may not be true for Ghanaians. The two countries have different educational systems, and therefore HND from Nigeria is different from HND from Ghana. If you are a Nigerian, your HND will be evaluated to a US degree equivalent so long as you have more than 180 credit hours. If you are a Ghanaian, your HND will not be evaluated to a US degree equivalent. Either you do a top up to get a degree and then come to the US for your master's, or apply to the US to do your bachelor's degree using your high school documents. In the case of the latter, if you are looking for good funding or good scholarship, you need to take the SAT. If this video has been helpful, smash the like button and also consider sharing the video with your friends. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in my next video.